In this chapter, we're going to be writing a script to procedurally split skinCluster weights using a surface. So I have a surface here in the center of the character, which is lofted between two curves. And I'm going to use this to split weights on the spine and transfer them to a breathe module which I've created. So this breathe module has upper and lower controls, which are driving the subcontrols in translation, rotation, and scale. And currently, none of the breathe joints are skinned. We just have a pelvis joint, and then we have the spine skinning and the upper torso skinning. So that's just containing the rest of the weights for the upper body. So we saw in the previous chapter that we could split skin weights using a curve. Now we are going to split them in two directions, or have the option to split them in two directions. So I know that this is the U direction and this is the V direction of the surface. So as before, every vertex that I supply will be converted to a position, and the position looks up the closest point on the surface. We get the t value, and that's used for the Boor weights. So if I open up the script editor and just dock that, we'll have a look at the code. So I'll just import the code, and in this example I'm going to use a vertex selection rather than supplying the entire mesh. This can help speed up the evaluation of the code. And instead of a curve, we supply a surface, which is just the lofted surface I showed before. And then we can run the code. So now you can see the weight has been transferred to the breathe joints, and the deformation is exactly the same as it was before. And we have access to scale and move this around. So that was a subcontrol. Yeah, and we have the individual controls as well. So like I mentioned, this is very handy for skirts and large pieces of cloth, but it can also be used for this type of thing. And you'll notice that the original spine skinning hasn't been affected. So although we have the option to split in two directions, the U and the V, in this instance I was only splitting in the V direction. So the joints are now a list of lists. So we'll see how we have to format the joints to get them to work in the U and the V directions. In this example, I was just splitting in the V direction.